live also. Welcome, all of you. I welcome you on behalf of Perfect Sourcing. I hope I'm audible to everyone.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
Ladies and gentlemen, everyone who is on Facebook or in any other social media and watching us, today's session and this special webinar is on industry apparel. I would like you to highlight the situation in Tirupur. What is happening in Coimbatore, Tirupur in terms of apparel export units? And can you just brief us a little bit about the current situation in the export and manufacturing units of apparel?
Actually, regarding this COVID-19, everyone knows that it's an unprecedented issue, what has been faced so far by the world. And the entire global market got into standstill mode. That way, we all, the entire value chain got crippled, I would say. Because the reason is that since Tirupur-like cluster, the knitwear industry is just a seasonal business. That's we are catering to the dynamic market like Europe and America. So where multiple seasons in a year need to be catered. So in this dynamism that we were virtually got into crippled mode because of this, because 2-3 seasons products have got stranded over here and over there, and which has become a dead inventory on both the sides. So huge economic debacle is to be resolved. So that is the situation. And regarding the post revival story also, it's not so good as far as the entire industry spectrum is concerned, but particularly in Tirupur, we are a lot of migrant laborers were there. Yes. So a lot of them they were so far they got locked and they were comfortably they are placed with, but after the hearsay news like that they are being taken by the state government back into their hometown and this and that, and a lot of political gimmicks also been done from various angles. So now people they are more become more sensitized and on those things, and they are now exodus has been witnessed from Tirupur. So a lot of people are going day in, day out. So there is a problem again, because not only the industry is slowly resuming to functioning, but at this juncture that a lot of this exodus issues being faced. So in this situation, we don't know what to do, but okay. The thing is not within the state also, buses are not flying. So the people who have got locked in their respective districts, they couldn't travel down to Tirupur. So in which way, in that way also Tirupur industry is suffering right now for the lack of laborers. But of course, this 2 months, June, from June to August, it's normally Tirupur cluster has a lull period. Okay. It's not so exuberant months as far as the orders are being considered. But anyhow, already the industry is very badly hit. Now we are again and again we are seeing a lot many new problems on these angles too, and which need to be collectively resolved. So we wish that it should get resolved as quick as possible.
Yeah, the situation as far as business is very similar. I mean, a lot of exporters have been hit with cancellations, and I think the real impact of this we'll probably see 6 months down the line, because factories have opened right now. They're executing their orders that were pent up, and actually the situation varies from export to exporter, I think. Some buyers are taking the old orders and they have said that they'll pay later. But some have cancelled orders and they're seeing they're coming up with the new orders. Okay. But what has happened is I think there's a huge cash flow issue. To some extent, the deferment of the payment for the loans or even for the working capital is helping, but it's just postponing the issue. So what you had to pay now, maybe you'll have to pay 90 days later. But then 90 days later, you'll have to again face the issue, right? So I think 3 to 6 months down the line, we'll really know the real impact of what has happened. We are operating with about 50%
That's nice.
capacity, and that's mainly because the public sector, the public transport is not there. So workers can't come to the factories.
Okay.
So whoever can walk or is close by or who can manage on their own, they are coming to the factory.
Okay.
And we are also okay for two reasons. One is the social distancing that the physical distancing that the government was insisting on initially. The second one is also we were also careful of ramping up with the capacity.
Yes.
For both these issues, we are okay with that. Luckily, Bangalore and generally Karnataka doesn't have too much of the problem with migrants because most of the factories work with local labor. Local labor. There are a few factories, but that's who have labor from other parts, but that's really minuscule.
Okay.
So the migrant issue is really not such a big problem in Bangalore.
Okay.
Coming on to Mumbai, as you know, is epicenter of this coronavirus with 1,500 cases added even yesterday. So our numbers are just galloping. The problem with Mumbai and Maharashtra, of course, but in Mumbai particularly is there's no transportation whatsoever. No trains are working, no buses are working, excepting a few buses which carry only the emergency staff and the frontliners. These are not, there is one bus every 2-3 hours coming from Panvel to Bombay and back, which is ridiculous. And as I told you last week also, while a lot of tailors have already migrated, not only tailors, a lot of people have migrated. What has happened is the guys who are here, we barely have, as I told you, about 30% people reported to work, and that too, more than half of them have said that, sir, we have bought our tickets or we are buying our tickets or we are in the process. And as soon as our number lagega, hum to chale jayega, sir. We want to go back, meet our families, and so I think the situation in Bombay is rather alarming compared to the other centers like Bangalore and Tirupur where things have started stabilizing. Here there is no such thing as stabilizing because even if you have a factory, in Bombay with the cost of land that we have, it's virtually impossible to have dormitories for people over here. So we have no dormitory system, whereas which the orders that were unfinished and got them finished now and trying to ship those out. Fortunately, as I told you last time also that the orders of few of the customers which are running have gone ahead and accepted those orders. We are negotiating the discounts with them and we understand that also.
Okay.
We have to air certain goods, which we will, and we will figure out a way to find an amicable solution. But you see, even in UK and US and Portugal and Italy, which are my main markets, all the major stores and department stores are all shut. So they are just opening up slowly. So now I really don't know with what aggressive mode they're going to come. But this coming season is gone and over. But going forward, let's hope something. There's always a rainbow at the end of the tunnel. So I'm sure something will happen. And quite a lot of our staff and senior people who have been with us for a long time, we've had to pay them and keep them because that's the core team which runs the organization. But those bills are quite heavy, and how long can we keep on paying? Because if this doesn't take off in the next 1 or 2, 3 months, things will really start.
Noida especially, all exporters were allowed to operate. It's almost a month now. We will be completing a month when we were permitted to start our factories.
Okay.
People have everybody has started their factories. And as other speakers said, the first priority is to get out of the WIP which we had for at least those orders where buyers are ready to accept the orders even now, maybe with a discount.
Okay.
As far as the workforce is concerned, yes, that's a big problem because most of the workers have already gone to their native places, to their villages. Even if it is within UP, like somebody in Kanpur, somebody in Raebareli, somebody in Lucknow, somebody in Varanasi, they all have gone whatever means they could find in the last 2 months. And now when we are open and we call them to come back, some are still willing to be back, but they do not have a means of transport to come. So if the government at least allows some public transport, maybe on a smaller scale like some buses, etc. So these people, I believe, would come to some extent, if not all. Well, those who have migrated to distant places, they are neither willing to come, nor do they have any option to come now, no transport, etc. So therefore, workforce shortage is a big problem. And the government of UP has tried to solve it to some extent. Now I'll ask Sir Ashok Vijayani's question why am I in the car? Actually, the Chief Minister of UP, Shri Yogi Adityanath ji.
Sir, I would like to ask you particularly one thing that since you are also the president of Tripura Exporter Association, what measures as an association you have taken? I mean, how much correspondence you are having with the government, and what type of strategies are being taken to combat the situation? Because Tamil Nadu and Tirupur, all these places are also very widely affected.
Yeah, actually, we are in continuous touch with the state government as well as the central government regarding as it has been well discussed, that the liquidity crunch is very much telling upon the industry, and everyone is suffering, right from micro to macro is suffering. But fortunately and unfortunately to my macro industries, fortunately to the micro industries, the central government has heeded to certain requests, and they are now facilitating the loans. So if not the grants, but loans are being facilitated by the government of India through banks. So in that way, majority of our throughput players are all falling under the MSME category. So they are all getting economical support in the liquidity support, at least to manage the situation on ground. And regarding the state government also, Tirupur also was in red zone a few weeks back, and now we have shifted to orange. Now it has become green since few days onwards. So in that way, Tirupur is resuming to normalcy, the earlier normal, I would say, as far as the health concern is to be accounted. So in that way, we are just coming out of that the alert factors, and we are now normal and got ready to function. So in that way, it is okay. But the thing is that, as it has been told, that the exodus of the migrants are being witnessed, and within the Tamil Nadu state, there are a lot of laborers got stranded in their respective natives of various districts. They couldn't travel because the public transportation has not resumed, and we are in touch with the state government to resume at least a minimal number of buses to ply between the districts. So to help out the laborers to travel back and forth, and this I think by today they have the CMS conversation with the video VC with the respective district collectors. Probably by 1st of June, they might take some call on this.
My question would be that you are saying that the government is helping by MSMEs by giving loans, and they want that the exporters again have some liquidity, in hands, and they can resume their operations. But I do not see that liquidity or these loans can alone solve the issue. And because it's not only about the loans or the economic situation, it is also about the orders. The buyers are cancelling orders. There are no new orders. The manufacturing, as you have also rightly said, that the labors are not available. The transport is not working. So how is the government working on these aspects, especially for the garment industry, because it is one of the major employers? after agriculture? What type of support we have got so far? Can you elaborate, sir?
No, the support, as I told that they just mishandled thoroughly on this migrant issue. The thing is, they could have transported them before the closure did happen, had they planned well ahead. And by the time now when we got resumed, normally they would have got back to their business. Right now, it's all become chaotic because of that wrong handling. That is one thing. And as you have told that, fortunately, I would say, because it might be over positive statement, but the thing is, that is the fact. The apparel industry, particularly the clothing industry, is comparatively fortunate with other industries' ongoing issues, because our resumption would be very quickly could happen. The thing is, next to food, the clothing is going to be an important factor, and definitely we might have a V curve rather than U curve. So this might happen with all the supporting factors if it got into working together. Definitely we can expect a sudden soon recovery. But the government side, as I told, that the only MSMEs have been given some handholding support. But here the MSME categorization is also, it's in a faulty line. The reason is that about 21 crore company also becomes equated with Ambani's and Adani's. So that is the problem of our formulations. So this has been addressed from our side also, and even all across the country also they would have addressed. Our MSME minister also is talking about that the limit is going to be revised very as quick as possible. So with all those supportive gestures only, we can easily resume our industry as quick as possible. That is my assumption and my wish too.
So how do you see the situation? I mean, what type of support you have been asking from the government, and what has been delivered so far? Do you see some gaps?
Huge gaps. We've been asking for a lot of things, and really we haven't got much, except like you said, loans, which is really not support. I mean, in fact, CMAI wrote to the Prime Minister's office, Finance Minister's office, Textile Minister's office, but nothing really has materialized so far. In fact, we have asked the state government also to give a wage subsidy if possible, seeing that this could at least save jobs. I understand that it is under consideration in the state, but we really don't know. I hope that can come through. But like you said, really, I mean, industry in general, not just apparel industry, but I don't think any industry has got government support so far. Right. So, I mean, unlike in the West, where people, I mean, 80% of the wage bill or 90% of the wage bill has been taken up by the government. Nothing like that has happened here.
Okay.
Yeah.
As far as the government support is concerned, there are huge gaps. Nothing has been materialized so far. Ashok sir, your take on the situation. I mean, do you think that the situation in Maharashtra and Mumbai, and because the state government, the central government, it has anybody's help and support been able to support the industry so far?
First of all, I must compliment Raja for his positive attitude that garment industry is not in such a bad shape compared to the other industries. But I don't know on what premises, because as of now, we are in a very, very serious and downtrend situation. So maybe I think all these Tirupur guys are making a lot of money up there. Raja, you have to share something with us now. No, but let me tell you one thing. You cannot approach the Maharashtra government just now because nobody is willing to talk to you. They are not concerned with anything, but they are worried about how to contain this pandemic, how to, labor, of course, they can't hold back. They have been asking them to leave. But Maharashtra, like most of the other big cities, Bombay, rely on migrant labor. Yes. All our malls, all our factories, the peons, and everybody, migrant labor is very, very important. And if the states adopt this attitude of adopting their own back and not letting them go in terms that they can set up some projects for them very soon, which I don't think is so easily possible, because even if government people decide to go to areas where there's a pool of workers available, there's a bank of workers available, it's not something that will happen tomorrow morning. It takes a good 6 months to 9 months to a year for a factory to plan and start somewhere. And there are, besides labor, there are so many other logistical requirements and proximity to the airport or seaport and fabric available. So labor will come back, but it'll be time. There'll be some time. And what will happen is, if the buyers do start asking for wanting to place orders, we might be in a sorry situation that we are not able to comply with that. If we don't get at least 75% complement of the staff that we have.
In fact, I want to ask very important questions from you now, because you are very close to UPCM. You are directly coming from there. So tell us, what is the plan? What is he planning? We are getting our labor back. We are getting the apparel industry's labor back, or he is going to set up all the units in UP now. We are not going to see any labor in Delhi, Gurgaon, anywhere else.
So, as I said, the labor shortage is actually a big problem across the country. The migrants have moved back to their original native places, and that is one of the major reasons, because everybody is facing, every industry across the country is facing. Tirupur, probably somebody said here, okay, they don't have migrant labor, so they are probably lucky. But I believe Mumbai and this Western UP has most of the migrant laborers who have gone back, and is a problem. As far as you talked about the UPCM, as I just mentioned in my last say that UPCM has made a little innovative idea. Now let's see how well it does it fructify. Okay. What he's done is he's tried to catch up the migrant laborers who's come back from other states into UP. So that is one part which he's trying to give them employment, and also the workforce to the industry. Those workforce which were actually in UP earlier before the lockdown and have gone back to Bihar or other places, maybe Assam or somewhere, that they have not been able to come back. Neither they are thinking of coming back at the moment. So it will take time for all this problem to stabilize. Maybe another 6 months at least by the time Diwali comes in. And as I was saying, probably had the government allowed these workers to move back to the villages peacefully, as they are doing now through the Shramik Express trains. So if they had gone in the first week of April, probably in these 2 months they would have been peaceful at their houses, and they might have thought of coming back now. But since these workers were actually in a big problem for the last 2 months, and those who are going now may take time to come back. So let's see how things unfold. The only best part at the moment I can suggest is, whosoever is available, let's catch hold of them. Let's not make them go away. Take care of them and run our industries. This next point people were talking about the finance and the government support. Well, just the fact that most of the orders have been cancelled. Buyers have started asking for discounts, or they might have started saying that we'll take the shipment in the next season. And all this has brought all of us into a liquidity crunch, because of which it has become difficult to manage our day-to-day expenses. We all had expected that the government would give us some relief by way of some interest payments for this lockdown period, or some EMI waivers, or even electricity fixed charges waivers. Unfortunately, the government did not budge in spite of representations being sent from across the board different associations, but the government did not do that. The only thing they have announced is some additional working capital. Of course, that has to be repaid with interest and with loan. So that would not help much. But whatever respite we've got, let's live with it now.
Okay.
And as far as the buyers are concerned, yes, there are all kind of buyers across the world. Some are taking the orders, some are taking them with discounts, some are canceling. But luckily, some new orders are also coming in. So that is a silver line at the end of the tunnel, where we hope that we would be able to revive maybe after some time. Let's remain positive and keep working. All those years we have been in this industry, and we just need not to become negative and thinking of shutting down or something. It's a difficult time. We need to come out all together. That's all I can say at this.
That seeing the situation of the labor here, I mean, we have always been, working on the compliance part. Buyers have been asking for, you must have this compliance, that compliance. And when these images of laborers, being facing such a turmoil and going back in trains, and I mean, we all know that this is a very catastrophic situation for them. Don't you think that the image of India is already tarnished in terms of apparel export sector? Sir, Raja
Not
sir.
at all, not at all. What has India
No,
got to
no.
do with it? Whole world is tarnished. Nothing to do with India, ma'am.
No,
And
but
let me tell you one thing. Let me tell you one thing. While all this is happening, and there will be challenges, there will be difficulties, you must understand one thing. As Indians, we are very resilient. We will bounce back. We will find ways.
Yes,
Somebody
I
will make a
agree with Ashokji.
PPE suit, somebody will make a mask, somebody will do something, but people will run and get things done. It'll take a little time. It will take and honestly, let's stop worrying about what government can do for us, because what they could do, what they have, what they could give, what they have within their means, but they are also concerned about the full country. It's not only one garment trade. They're worried about every sector. So now they can't have sector-specific initiatives for everybody. But they have done what they could do. Now we have to look into ourselves as our garment exporters, garment manufacturers, CMI, APC. We have to find ways and means of getting back into.
rightly said that we have to look. So as an entrepreneur, as an exporter, you tell me 4 5 points for your company that you have taken as a strategy to combat these tough times. And
Honestly, I have no strategy as on place. Just now, the question of just trying to balance things. Yes, we have started producing these PPE kits in the factory. Though I must say this is going through Reliance. I have taken some productions from Reliance, and they are arranging fabrics through their own mill, that Alok that they bought over, and they are supplying us fabrics, and we are manufacturing for them. So with the few tailors that we have, it's not that they are sitting idle. I mean, certainly there is a little movement. And while this is happening, now we are tapping all our buyers. Whole day we are sitting and doing nothing else. I'm calling up my buyers, talking to them, finding out what their pains are and what they would like to do. I have already offered all my buyers masks, decorative masks. I have offered all of them PPE suits, because hopefully by middle of June, as it is last week on TV, I saw that India is the second largest manufacturer of PPE kits
yes,
already.
already.
So I mean, we can
Okay,
do it in
that's
short,
actually what I was not aware of.
resolve. I think we will find a way out, and while we'll keep our factories busy, we don't want to make money. Let's cut some cost and manage our cost. Then we'll worry about bread, butter, and cake and ice cream will come much later now. Now we are all worried about our daily bread and butter.
What is the biggest priority for you as a Tirupur Exporters Association president? What will be your first priority, and what is the major challenge right now in Tirupur?
The major challenge is that, as it has been well discussed, that the deferment of payment and deferment of order taking, because of the seasonal changes. And that is the biggest challenge what we are facing right now on ground. And we have, through our association as well as individually with their respective buyers, the people are discussing and finding a way out how to resolve that issue. So that is the biggest challenge right now we are facing on the export arena. On the production arena, yes, we have umpteen number of problems. As I told that the exodus of laborers are being witnessed. And once people are saying that there would be a shift from China, the purchase shift from China would happen. So that and all, it's very, for hearing it is very pleasing one. But when we see the ground reality, as Rajani sir has narrated, that such much of difficulties in getting it executed. So we can confirm the orders, but if we not could able to deliver it on time, then the entire image of the country would be wiped out forever. And so that is the biggest challenge right now we are all facing. So for which we are requesting the respective state governments. I have written a letter to all the state government not to call not to sensitize and politicize this migrant issue, because now they are all well settled in their respective places. So now instead of calling them back to their fold, the respective states fold, it's not going to serve the purpose of the state government or for the purpose of the individual livelihood earners household also, because that is going to damage them in both the way, because the travel expense so far they are borne by themselves only. Today only we got a clear order from the Supreme Court that the travel should be made free for them. But even when they reach their respective states, they have been compulsorily they have been kept in quarantine. So all these answers, why they are also it's willing to undergo, we don't know. So as much as possible, we are enlightening them on ground not to go take here only and get into the job as quick as possible, because they are in the because they are near to the activity zone.
How much manufacturing units are operational in Tirupur?
Now actually all the micro to macro level units have got resumed to the work, but at the approximately at 30 to 40% level they got resumed. Okay. And resumed, and as you said, that PPEs and mask preparations also going around in a mass scale. So, but the thing is that for as I told that this 3 months, the ensuing months are going to be a lean period for the Tirupur cluster. All these years, it is a lean period only. So now the sampling work is very much in swing. Okay. So all the spring, summer, spring, summer sampling work is very much happening. So down the line, we expect if the return of migrants happen, then definitely the resumption also would become to the earlier normal level in another 3-4 months time down the line, we wish. And other than that, as I told, that the 2-3 problems are the biggest problems what we are addressing right now. So let us see how it is getting resolved.
Sorry, can you just repeat that?
I'm saying, sir, what is the single major biggest challenge for your company, and what is your strategy to combat these tough times? Because as far as the production is concerned, it is still available, but there are no orders, and you rightly said the buyers are cancelling orders. On the other hand, a lot of companies are already filing for Chapter 11 and bankruptcy, so the payments are already in a soup. So as an entrepreneur, as an exporter, right now, what is your biggest strategy to get out of the situation and your biggest challenge?
Like I said, we have opened up just about 50% of our capacity. And for that capacity, we are able to manage currently with the orders that were left over, the new orders that are coming in, and the PPEs that we are doing. So we are currently balancing our capacity with the orders that we have in hand. I think the biggest challenge has been challenge right now is the cash flows. because you know, the orders that cancel, that got cancelled, that put a stop to a lot of the inflows that we were expecting. That is a huge blow. So right now we're just trying to manage, um, week by week, checking our expenses to the inflows.
Do you
We are
think
having
there will be some opportunity in this crisis? Maybe the PPE or maybe some new market which has not been affected much by this calamity of COVID-19. Something, some ray of hope for you anywhere.
Yeah, luckily we are doing, mm, we are doing made-ups for one of our buyers, and they wanted to shift a substantial part of their production to India.
Okay.
This was there even before COVID happened, and luckily they have not changed their plans. So they are continuing with their with the whatever they had planned earlier, and that is helping us a lot. Yeah, it's opening up.
Yes.
And we don't know, because even the stores that are open in Bangalore now, the sales are just about 30 to 50% of what they were a year back.
True.
So I'm sure the situation will be very similar abroad, right?
True.
So honestly, it's very difficult to predict what will be the situation 6 months down the line. We have to keep our fingers crossed and go as per, whatever happens, we have to adjust ourselves to that.
See, as far as opportunity is concerned, at this point, I do not see there is much of an opportunity available until unless the anti-China sentiment, which actually prevails and the buyers make up their mind to move out of China, and they might have to pay a little bit more for moving out of China if they are willing to do that, then that might be an opportunity. Otherwise, at the moment, there are so many challenges, not much of an opportunity, but yes, it is important that we face these challenges and move ahead. That this year, now 2021, I'm sure will be a year not of growth, but more of sustenance. We should be concentrated on how to survive and how to keep afloat rather than thinking of how to grow the business.
We are at this forum. I mean, it's quite clear that Tirupur is very self-sufficient in labor. Karnataka, Nasir sir has also said that labor is not an issue. Rajiv sir has already said because UP is having its own labor, Noida. So, of course, labor will not be an issue for some of the people here who are in discussion. But my major point, and I would like to point out to Mr. Shamugam, sir, you as a head of such a important association, and Nasir sir, you also being a part of association in CMI, and Rajiv ji, I'm not able to see him, but he is also a very important person in Indian Industries Association. How are you guys managing as Nasir sir said, cash flow is the biggest problem, and the problem of cash flow came in when the buyers stopped making payments. Am I right? They stopped making the payments, they started canceling the orders, they started dealing the payments. So that is the first thing that happened, and which proved to be a very big barrier. So as an association heads, each one of you, starting from Raja sir, I would like to ask you what steps you are taking now to avoid such situation. How are you convincing the buyers to pay your people, to pay the export sector, so that things can still run smoothly? So
yeah, actually, we have written a letter, appealing letter to all the brands who are dealing with the Tirupur. Not now, 1.5 months back itself, we have written a letter stating that this industry, and particularly for your brand, the companies, attached companies are working in coordination to cater to your requirements. Employing such a number of people, dedicated team. So with the wafer thin margin only, so we don't have any wherewithal to sustain any blow. A simple blow also would be a very death knell blow for us. So don't penalize or don't take advantage of the situation. We have pleaded them, and subsequent to that, a lot of brands initially which are all claimed for cancellations and discounts, heavy discounts and all, they mellowed down.
Okay.
To a certain extent, they mellowed down and they started discussing with the respective suppliers. And thereby the discussions still just going around. And it is, I think, in the course of time, it will get settled amicably. Because the buyers also don't want to get damaged, because now it has become a global issue. So anything and everything, it will be it's going to get published also.
Absolutely.
So the compliance is not now, so far the compliance was on the supplier's head only. Now the compliance have switched over to the global arena. So now the brands also need to face the heat of the compliance. Arbitration council functioning under the T. So that whatever the disputes, even the buying house and between the buying house and the suppliers, so all this it's been discussed and taken care. We just try to enlighten the members not to bring to that extent. So it should not get crystallized to an entanglement or like. So because we are doing business, of course, we need their support, they need our support. So in that angle, it has to be collectively worked with. So I think we are progressing in that direction.
Same. Anything that has been particularly taken in this direction to address this concern to buyers? Why are they stopping the payments? Why are they delaying the payments or orders?
The fact is, I mean, the buyers are in their own regions, in their own countries and regions. They're as much in a problem as the exporters, right? And each buyer is taking whatever action suits their situation. Of course, some are declaring bankruptcies.
Absolutely.
Some are holding up payments. But luckily, at least some of the buyers have decided to, hold on to the orders and take them later at least. Okay. So it's just the market situation that's affecting each buyer and exporter. It's very difficult to come to a common consensus on this. In fact, I was suggesting to one.
Cannot we have a joint committee with all the associations and all the export members like AEPC, TEA, IIA, and CMI forming together one common body like Bangladesh has also done, because they are really putting a lot of pressure on the buyers to not stop the payments or not default the payments. So can we have some sort of association here? Can we have some announcement from you here that we can have a joint committee on that aspect?
No, this is an excellent suggestion, but I wish it had happened earlier.
True.
Now I think it's already a little late. In fact, when we were talking to one of our buyers, I told them that it is good for them to have a good relationship with their suppliers. I was trying to convince them not to cancel orders.
Okay.
And I told them that, if possible, if they were okay with it, I could get all the exporters together, at least those who are in Bangalore, and then we could come to a common understanding with them.
I think on that note, we have to end this conversation today. And I thank you, all of you, for joining us in the conversation. Nasir sir, Raja sir, Amit Gupta ji is also here, Vivek ji, Hemant Kumar, Varun Singh ji, Rajiv ji has already left. And as Vivek ji had already mentioned, that if anybody wants to share some suggestions on how policies can be formulated for a new manufacturing cluster in Bihar, they can readily send him at kumar.vivek@tribuk.co.in. I hope the live session with Perfect Sourcing may have helped in highlighting some of the challenges and may be instrumental in carving out some solution in the times to come. Maybe a motivational phase only.
Associations could have got together.
True.
But I think no one foresaw what was coming. And this has hit us like a typhoon. But it's a good learning for the future. I'm sure these sort of sessions help us all. Thank you very much for bringing us together.
Nasir sir, thank you, Raja sir. I really appreciate your time, because it is the need of hour that we all collaborate and collectively come out and sort out these solutions for the betterment of the industry.
Thank you, Deepti. Thank you, Nasser ji. Thank you, Amit Gupta ji.
Thank you, Mr. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, everyone. On that note, good evening, good night, Shaba Khair, and time to take off from perfect sourcing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.